Hello, I'm Michael Schroeder, and I love to keep journals. I'm going to go through the journal that I have been keeping for the last year, a little over a year, and talk about my the tools that I use, and talk about the journals that I use, and also at the end I want to talk about what I'm going to do next. So to start this out, I'm going to talk about the tools that I use to journal with. So I like using these fiber tip pigment ink pens. I like them because from Micron, because they're waterproof. So I can draw on them and do watercolor after. I can do watercolor and then draw on them, and they work interchangeably with that. So I like those. These are all, of course, in different sizes, from 0.005 to 1 or so. And then these are some other fiber tip pens from Unipen that are some gray and browns. I then have some Faber-Castell art markers that I use to add a punch a little shade or shadow or darkness sometimes over the watercolor and ink. I like these Pentel Finito pens. These are also waterproof and they have a great black ink. What I've started doing with my drawings is I use this Tombow light gray pen to do a first sketch of the drawing instead of using pencil, for example. And then I can because this Tombow is water soluble, it basically washes away as I do a watercolor on top of it. So this gets me the outline of the drawing before I do a watercolor. These are little Da Vinci brushes that are collapsible. So here's one that's extended, then each one are 4 different sizes. I have a little matte knife that the TSA never really cares about. It's too small. The glue stick. I have a little kneaded eraser. This is a little container of water that I can take along with me. A couple alligator clips. And then I have a couple of pencils of various types, some colored pencils. I have a water soluble pencil, so that lets me do some darkness and then wash that out. I have a couple other pencils I like to use. Sometimes I'll use a regular just a regular pencil if I want to do sketching up of a drawing before. I then have some watercolors. I get these watercolors from a variety of places. These are watercolors. These are called half pans, and then basically you can get the empty tins and then fill them in with whatever colors you want. Some of these colors have metallic in them. I get those from Case for Making in San Francisco. So put all together, that all goes into a bag right here I get from Nutsack that I have basically a place for. I'll put my pens and pencils here. I'll put my watercolor trays in here. I'll put the pencil carrier in there. And I have my little container, put my watercolor supplies and brushes in here. And I put that, and my journal goes right in there. So I'm going to move these off to the side, and I'm going to start walking through the journal. And I get these journals from Iona Handcrafted Books in Austin, Texas. I have been getting them from her for almost 20 years, I think. I have about 12 or 13 of them, and I love them. They have she uses all different types of leather to put them on. This is, I think, called an Ethiopian Codex, this binding style. And then she puts an end paper on, and then she fills them with paper. In this case, it's watercolor paper. At the beginning of each journal, she'll put a little hang tag, tells a little bit about them. But so many people take a photograph of this because they like the journal. So in this case, I started off a college tour with my son Sam in April of last year. I brought along a Fujifilm Instax camera that I just got. Let me take a couple of photographs and just paste those in with my glue stick. And this was just sort of taking notes of the map of the trip. We ran into a friend, Christian Chambers, who's also looking at some of the same schools up in the Pacific Northwest. This is a sketch of Union Station in Tacoma. This is sort of a map of the places we went, with the Museum of Pop Culture in Seattle, the Tacoma Museum of Glass. This was, we went to visit Gonzaga University in Spokane. This is the hotel that we were at. Here is Gonzaga University, both these pictures. At the same time that I was taking Sam on this trip, I had just been laid off from a job at Microsoft, so I started mapping out a visual idea of what my career path has been. It's been kind of fun, and just this was sort of the first little sketch of where it has been in terms of my career, and just sort of played around with the ideas there. We went to the Museum of Popular Culture in Seattle, the MoPop, crossed the Columbia River with our friends, the Chambers. And then we went in Spokane. We actually visited at the end of the day B-25 Grumpy at the Historic Flight Foundation. We looked around for places, and this was one cool thing that we saw. Then I came back, and this was in Sonoma, or actually in Sonoma County, California. I went with my wife to visit there, and it's near where we live, and so I did a little watercolor of a tractor there. As I went to a Winsor Newton watercolor demo, and I tried out some new paints. Some watercolors that I did. This is by the Ferry Building in San Francisco. I went to a conference actually this was a conference. I went to a conference on XR in South Bay in the Bay Area. Little picture of Sam and his then girlfriend. Sam's my son. We then went to Fairfax Festival. That was a year ago, and we saw musicians play. These are images from that. This is a tractor at Xenia's father's place up in Sonoma. This is my new car. This is it's a Toyota Prius Prime, and this is some images we took from Liz and I took this trip up to Sonoma. This was Bastille Day. Around then, I started my first day at Typeface. I took about four months. I tried out generative AI and worked at Typeface for about 4 months. It wasn't a good fit for me, so I moved on. Here we went on a trip down to San Luis Obispo. Sam, our younger son, he chose to go to San Luis Obispo. This past summer, we went to Slow Days to visit the school. Here's Sam again. Liz and I went to see the Flaming Lips in Stern Grove in San Francisco in July. And this is in Larkspur also in July. No, this is Larkspur in August, pardon me. This is Larkspur as well, the elevated bridge that will never go down again. This is in San Rafael, California, at the roof patio of a new hotel. I went down to San Diego to meet up with some fraternity brothers from University of Arizona, and had some time walking around and did some painting of the USS Midway. This is we went down with Liz down to near when we dropped off Sam, our younger boy, to college. We went on to Pismo Beach in Santa Barbara, where Liz went to college. This is images from Pismo Beach. So you can see there's a little bit of reflectiveness in this. This is using those iridescent colors from Case for Making. So this would be using this sparkly blue, and this might also be using some sparkly gold here. This is in the Moorish Fountain at the Santa Barbara Mission. This is also in Coldwater Sandstone in Santa Barbara. This is a bad sketch of a dog in Santa Barbara. Went to Locum and had baklava in Santa Barbara. And then Liz and I went down to the Hollywood Bowl. We saw a concert. That was fun. It was Modest Mouse and the Pixies. Then I wasn't back in Marin where I live, and here's a little painting that I did. This is in Nicasio. And this is in October. I wanted to start playing with the idea of Inktober, so I played with some inks that I got. And then my wife Liz made a focaccia with herb honey plums, and I did a little painting of that. This was the Fairfax Biketoberfest in October 2023. And we actually went back to San Luis Obispo to see Sam for a family weekend. And I drew a pear sitting on the table of the B&B. This is a cow statue. That's a cow poly, cow number 51. And went to San Rafael Farmers Market and drew in San Rafael in California. and that's near where I live. And there's some fruit and vegetable I drew, some fall. And then I watched Keenan play the kora, and I did a little watercolor of him doing that. I went in November to visit my alma mater, University of Arizona, for a reunion and a meet up with some classmates. And when I was there, I met up with a former professor of mine, Chuck Albanese, and he tried out some of my watercolors and some of my watercolor crayons from Caran d'Ache, and he did this little sketch in there. And I made work with him to sort of get some of his artwork out for people to buy. Then I'm back. This is back sitting in my kitchen home, and this is a picture of my home, my house, and my wife's car. This is in San Rafael. By the boat dock, an older boat. This is Max. I went one evening. Liz was away. I went to sit down, watch some music one evening, and watched Max in Fairfax, where I live. Went to a Wired 30 conference, and they had some cool sneakers, and I painted those. Then I went to my nephew's bar mitzvah in Virginia, and we went to Monticello. This is a picture that I did, a watercolor I did of sitting in front of Monticello. And this is also in Carytown, near Richmond, where my brother's family lives. A little fun sketch I did with some watercolors and some inks. And this is in San Rafael, in Fairfax, where I live, a little auto park near where I live, a little parklet. This is the Fairfax Coffee Roasters. This is also another. This is actually right by in the parklet by the Fairfax Coffee Roasters. This is a sketch of the fitness centers across the street from the Good Earth near where I live in Fairfax. Here's a sketch of the Good Earth in Fairfax in the Fair and Selm Shopping Plaza right near where I live. This is a little sketch, little playful sketch that I did called Stacked Ontopoulos. This is sitting from the parklet at the Fairfax Coffee Roasters, the 11th hour shop. A little image from there. This is the lumberyard in Mill Valley. This is from the library in Fairfax. And I went a couple weeks ago to a auto show in San Rafael down the main street, and I did some sketches of some vehicles. And then I went to a urban sketching meetup in Sonoma again, and I drew some tractors. This is actually the same tractor that I drew earlier, same location, just from a different vantage point. And then this is in Healdsburg, California, north of there. I went to the DeYoung Museum. They had a sketching in the galleries, and they gave away these little folded papers, and I sort of put this into a little Turkish map folding mechanism here. So I did a little drawing. They gave us some colored pencils, and they only can use colored pencils in there in the gallery. So I'd sketch some things I saw in that gallery at the this is actually my first commission. I did a full-size watercolor as I was working on the sketch in a cafe in San Rafael. Those car sketches. A gentleman came up to me and with a picture in his hand on his phone. Can you do a image of this? My sister-in-law. And I said, sure, why not? And so I did a little sketch here, and then I did a larger size image, and I gave that to him last week, and they loved it. So I'm looking to doing more commissions like that. So that gave me the idea of finding an auto show to go to and really do a lot of drawing. So I found, within a week, I found that there was the West Coast Customs Auto Show in Santa Maria, California. And I went there for the weekend, and I just started drawing cars and trucks. So these are cars and trucks that I drew there. I found that doing a double page spread gave me the most room and on my journal, and it gave me a good size that I'd like to work with. And as I was doing these, I'd meet the people who were who owned them, who created them, and it was a great way to meet people. And in some cases, I gave them some information about what I do now as commission. So these are all autos that I took. Each one of these would take between 30 and 40 minutes to do. I do it, a little bit first with the Tombow pen. I sort of sketch out the general shapes. I then add color in with the paintbrush, and then use the ink to to make some of the lines more firm or more exact in that way. And that's sort of the technique that I did with all of these. So this one, I remember I was doing another sketch. I was doing this watercolor, and this guy came up to me and says, "Can you come and paint my grandfather's car?" I said, "Sure, let me finish this up and I'll do this." And so I met Gabriel. Gabriel, he this has been his family's car it was his grandfather's and now it was his mother's. And he wanted me to draw it. So I painted it and I did this, and his whole family came over and they looked at this, and I had a great chat with them. So it was really fun engaging with them and learning about them. This is a sketch that I did of this car on my Lynn. The car is called Jenny, or it's a truck. And that was really fun to draw. I love the geometry on this. Here's another one. And then it finished. And this was the last sketch that I did in this journal, and the last sketch that I did that day at the auto show. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you what I'm going to do next. So once I finished this, I went online and I ordered my next journal. So the next one, I'm actually unboxing it now, and I ordered it, and I wanted the same kind of journal, and I got a little note here. This is from Iona Handcrafted Books from Michael, who makes these. Thank you so much. Hope you have some fabulous adventures together. Enjoy. Got the receipt, and this is a cool thing she puts in here, a little ornament. It's a little journal ornament in beautiful green. Well, that's cool. And so here is what I got. Beautiful wrapping. So she showed me went online and I saw the different colors that she had, and I picked this one. So this is my new journal. So I've had journals in mostly brown. Look, almost all of them were brown. Now I've started going off into some new colors. So it is this beautiful orangey red. And this is where I'm going to start my new journal. So it has watercolor paper. It's a full blank journal. And this will start my next adventure. Thank you so much.